Rebirth. You're listening to Slurmcast, a podcast for no reason. Today we'll be discussing Season 6, Episode 1, or 7-1 on Hulu, Rebirth. My name is Michelle Burlingame. With me are Tommy Roulette.
How's it going?
Pete Woodward.
That's me.
And our guest today is mild-mannered reporter Nikki Delamotte.
Hey, guys.
How long have you had that line in your back pocket?
Since I sat down at the table, honestly, I was like, well, how am I going to introduce Nikki?
Perfect. I mean, the irony is Nikki was podcasting in this very room years before we were. Because you and my wife used to do your show for Scene here. And all of that kind of evaporated.
How did you listen
vanished.
to a podcast when you were reading through a scene? Where was like the button?
I think it was online content.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it was online. You still can't read podcasts yet.
Well, no, you know what? People transcribe them, and somebody told us we should transcribe ours. It's like,
You can't. You want to?
that sounds like a lot of fucking work.
No, I got in kind of a fight with one of my coworkers about that. Because I was like, oh, well, there should be like captions on videos just so, people can read them. They're like, what about your podcast? So I was like, checkmate. Like, I don't transcribe all of our podcasts or anything like that we do at work.
No,
But I can understand why people would.
it's an audio medium. I mean, I guess there's an argument to be made for, like, if you make an audio book of a book, you could make a text version of a conversation, but
I suppose. I
You
do
should just
kind
record
of like,
into that dragon dictation thing and just see what comes out.
Yeah, I mean,
Or just open Google voicemail and see what happens.
it's one thing if it's like an investigative or like research type podcast where you're quoting or referring to like medical studies or this journal put out this, documentation to like Science Versus on Gimlet. Like they always post their sources when they quote studies or anything like that. So that's one thing, and I think they do full transcripts of their show, but with us fucking around about Futurama, I don't know if it would be worth it or...
It's not like we come in here with like a script or even any direction
Right.
of what we're going to be doing. So
no, I
Minimal
don't
notes.
know that anyone needs to read 15
Yeah, I
pages
guess.
of us talking with Tim Cornette about
Dog.
excretions. I would, but I don't know if anybody else needs to.
Maybe it's just better to not have like a written record of those things.
probably.
Yeah,
It's
I
worse
just-
enough that there's audio.
Yeah. And that people listen to it. Suckers. I'm so tired. I just finished 6 weeks of travel in a row. The last one was vacation, which was really nice, but then I went back to work for the first day yesterday after a week off. And I had a blood donation appointment at the end of the day, and I was like so close to not being able to donate because I knew that my blood pressure was like, even with the meds I'm already on, like sky high. And the guy that first checked it just kind of took it and didn't say anything. He's just like, "Can you come over and do another check?" And his eyes are like wide, and she's like, "No, you did it wrong. It's still high, but he's fine." Like they really wanted my blood, and then I filled the bag in record time.
Well, hey, because you had too much blood. You had to get some out.
Exactly. Like I didn't ever understand why they'd be like, "We can't take it. Your blood pressure's too high." I'm like, taking out blood will reduce the amount of pressure.
Exactly.
Apparently, that doesn't work like that.
Of course, Pete was just traveling for like 20 weeks, and the first thing I say when I walk into the house is, "Oh my gosh, I have to go out of town for 2 days to Washington D.C."
It's like, and I
I don't
tried
know,
to.
I'm gonna handle it.
I try to tell you how to enjoy it, and you're like, "Oh no enjoyment for me. I'm just gonna go in and out of probably Dulles, which is shitty to begin with, and then have to deal with traffic, and then just turn right around and go."
All my favorite things.
Yeah,
I hate sightseeing.
you have to make it worth it. I've got some other travel that's potentially on the horizon that I'm gonna try and cram some fun into.
I'm going vacation this weekend for Memorial.
Are you going out into the hinterlands?
Into the cabin up in
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Nice.
Tom goes to a place where they burn garbage.
Yes, everything.
I bet
If it's
there's
burnable, you burn it.
I guess, do they have a lot of ticks there?
I don't know. I've never run into it.
I hope
I'm
not.
I'm always terrified of ticks though. We just treated the dogs, so they're fine, but I always wear, like, anytime we're hiking or doing anything, I always wear pants and boots and
You don't go naked?
boots and pants.
My new nightmare is getting bitten by one of those Lone Star ticks and getting, what is it?
Turning
the
into a
alpha
Texan?
gal. No, the alpha gal virus that makes you allergic to meat.
Oh my
I think
God.
I've mentioned this before on
Yeah.
the podcast like months and months ago.
Is that real though?
It is real.
Eef.
It's real. And it's like popping up in news stories and stuff again because of the time of year it is. But yeah, look into it. There's a tick that if it bites you can make you it transfers something into your bloodstream that like mutates your genes and you become allergic to meat. You get violently ill out of nowhere after having meat.
This is like some sort of pedantic vegan virus or something.
I think you made that same joke the last time I brought it up.
I
too.
may have. It's just bad. Before we actually talk about the show that this show is ostensibly about, what exactly is your history or relationship with Futurama as a thing? I know you're not like a big fan, but as we've established, like interesting, fun people are usually at least more important to having a good episode of this show than people that are necessarily big fans.
And mild-mannered.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a big fan of Slurmcast, but I am more of a fan of the podcast than Futurama, maybe.
Said the only person ever.
No, I think I was one of those one season fans where I was like super stoked about it, and then I probably fell off. I was also one of those super pretentious, I don't own a TV type people, which like in retrospect, I was like, why was I ever one of those people? Because I missed a lot of really good shit.
Television's great.
Yeah, I know.
Especially
so I've been
now.
like
It's really
catching
great.
up. Like I've been going on like benders. Sorry, I did not even mean for that.
Sure.
Like TV benders, to make up for like lost time. I feel like so. It's funny because I was like talking about. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be on this podcast about Futurama. I'm super excited, and somebody said to me, they're like, yeah, like it's funny because of how much Futurama, even from like back then, still resonates now and has kind of a little existential element to it.
Oh,
Absolutely,
yeah. It gets worse and worse. Like, they
Yeah.
predicted the future, basically, in so many ways.
And that's what I was listening to your last episode or most recent, and you're talking about like the feministas or whatever, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, like it feels really dated. But this one, I was like shocked. I was like, this is like a very relevant one, I feel like, to me.
I think there's certainly parts of that in this. I mean, the thing about the way the
This
feministas
is
were
like
portrayed.
the dissent to my statement, my big statement here.
No.
He's like, well.
No, but I mean, like with the feministas, they were just the portrayal was very dated. It's not that the idea. I mean, if anything, it's almost more relevant in the abstract now, based on things like Me Too and stuff.
Sure.
But like,
But it
was
also
just
kind
that,
of like was mocking that type of person, which was very
like a shrill tenor.
of that time. Yeah, it was, they weren't really saying like, oh yeah, the feministas, they're cool. It was kind of saying, the whole episode was saying like, oh yeah, they're idiots. They they don't know what they're doing. They have a slogan writer that can't write slogan. Like,
and didn't
Yeah.
anticipate for their protest to have any effect anyway.
exactly.
I could be also like projecting the importance or relevancy because this actually speaks to one of my biggest fears, which is being replaced by robots. And specifically like in this manner. So like I was telling one of my friends about it, and he's like, this is the perfect episode for you because this is your worst fear in the world. And I was like, I know.
Awesome. That works out. I mean, and there's a lot of stuff that gets crammed in just because as it's coming back into the new seasons after being canceled and after the movies. Incidentally, thank God we're done with those friggin'
Thank
films.
God.
They're so long. I mean, they're fine, but just trying to talk about 4 episodes in one.
Yeah.
It was exhausting.
Yeah, it was a lot.
We did it for you, dear listener.
And our numbers
done.
reflected how much you actually enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But with this had the Hypnotoad at the beginning, then a cold open, then a Jumbotron gag. But the cold open was really, and it wasn't even like
they skimped on the tagline though, because
Did
it was
they?
just Rebirth, which is the name of this
yeah.
episode.
I mean, the cold open was good, and the thing that was weird about it is usually the cold open is just like a non sequitur thing, but it actually played right back into the storyline where Fry comes in with his fry fro covered
My
in
fry fro was
burns,
fizzy.
and
Why is those things?
and then he's like, no one drew magic marker penises on my forehead.
Well, so this episode, I guess, came in. So there's Hypnotoad right at the very beginning, right before the intro to the episode even starts, and apparently the one that's on Hulu is not the one that was originally part of the episode, or they're different. So in one of them, Bender, it shows Hypnotoad with a wah, and Bender says, "On the count of 3, you will awaken feeling refreshed, as if Futurama had never been canceled by idiots, then brought back by bigger idiots." 1, 2, and then he snaps his fingers, and it's the intro. But on the one on Hulu, he says, "This has been a test of the emergency Hypnotoad system. Had this been an actual hypnosis, you would go limp and watch whatever crap comes on next. Coming up next, Futurama." Yeah. And like, I personally like the canceled by idiots one much better, but I wonder what happened. Like, what made them change that? Did Comedy Central get like super pissed? Like, hey, we brought you back from nothing and you call us idiots?
Yeah,
like,
is it that?
Could
on
they
the
not
DVD?
take a joke?
Maybe?
I don't have the DVDs.
Did you watch this on DVD?
No, I don't have the DVDs yet.
Of this season. Okay.
Yeah.
But even the cold open was pretty long, but it was also funny. There was some good lines in there when they were talking about tender displays of tonguesmanship, and then they do the fourth wall breaking where they kind of like do the meta joke about Comedy Central channel and things like that.
Yeah.
But the the thing that I loved in that when they're recreating the crash at the end of Wild Green Yonder is when the professor talks about the safety spheres.
Oh,
and
yes.
everybody else just covers their head, and then he's in like the full body like sumo one with air conditioning.
He made it out with only trivial brain damage.
I never caught that until I was watching it today, and I had the closed captioning on. It said "dabblage." I never
trivial brain damage.
It's just, that led into
God. I watched that like 10 times in a row, and I just kept laughing and laughing and laughing.
Everybody just being like a skeleton with a head was so unnerving and gross. Like it really just creeped me out, and that happened a lot in this episode. And then it went into the credits with the Jumbotron thing. There's a talking moon with arms like flipping out.
Silvery Moon. It's about 2 cats that talk about what the moon is made of. I think. Let me look this because I was a little confused.
Did I write this?
I was going to say, this is almost like what Pete's Cats were doing before we started recording. They were definitely making some sounds.
Putting on a show for Nikki's benefit, probably. And
there's a feline.
Talking about the moon, Pete, and you were yelling at them.
Yeah.
Just trying to discuss the moon.
There's a feline couple boating in a bay, and the boy cat paddles the boat while the girl cat sings. And then the boy cat tells his partner that the moon is made of cheese, but the cat girl objects and says it's made of desserts and other sweet stuff.
They're both wrong.
Appreciating their views, the moon becomes animated and then therefore conjures a stairwell to it. It appears the moon is as the girl cat described. Things like cakes, candy canes, and ice cream are a common sight.
I've found my answer whenever anyone asks me, what's your perfect first date?
You rowboating with cats?
Yes.
I think that would be dangerous because the cats would be freaked the fuck out.
With a moon filled with cheese and desserts.
Well, apparently then an animated bottle of castor oil and a spoon approach. Like, what? Why? What?
Oh my God,
Why?
This is okay. So now it's into laxatives.
Well,
and other
they
weird...
chase the cats who apparently jump off of an edge of the moon and go back to Earth. Like they jump off the moon and land back on Earth.
I may have mentioned this before once or twice or 20 times, but the people that made these cartoons were on some fucked up drugs.
Yeah.
Just is like
they were all on heroin.
Yeah.
Like all of them.
Yeah. Heroin and jazz cigarettes was the real, is making America great again with drugs.
And cats.
And cats. Yeah,
and
exactly.
then the war. And then drugs again.
All of these all these awful things like cats. I mean, how hard would it be for you to get an above the fold story about cats boating?
I mean,
Like
find me some cats
That would go
to
viral
interview.
on Facebook.
like cat kayaking.
I mean, there's cat yoga.
I know, and there's goat yoga, so that could be like
and
the-
alpaca
disgusting,
yoga.
by
all
the
you
way.
need to do to report on that is like
I
send
love
somebody out in a kayak and shove a kitten into the little hidey hole.
That's like
Goats.
Nightcrawler. Did you see Nightcrawler where he just like starts inventing basically
Yeah.
terrible things?
Yeah, I mean it's completely against journalistic ethics, I think.
Hey,
But
if it bleeds, it leads. If it's a cat in a kayak,
if it's a cat in a capsized kayak, I could totally get behind that, blood or no. Then everything got really fucking weird. This episode was very disgusting on a number of levels. Really violent, I felt. And just so I mean, is this setting a stage where everything kind of gets dirtier because now they're on Comedy Central?
There's definitely
Yeah.
a shift in that. Yeah. This is different Futurama than it was prior to the movie.
So, like, tonally, there has now been a shift that we can anticipate. Going
they go a lot more into, other than like this movie or this episode, there's a lot of episodes that directly are commentary on certain things going on in the world that are more
timely.
You know, there's a whole episode about the iPhone. There's a whole, there's a whole episode on the evolution.
Yeah.
Which is actually a really good episode.
Mhm.
But
I like that one a lot.
yeah, so this is just, now they're on Comedy Central. They're on a cable channel, so they have more freedom kind of to do and say things
Like
that
mouth to ass
Yeah,
resuscitation.
The writing gets better, I think. Maybe
Really?
not better, but like smarter. I don't know. It's different. Like you'll feel you'll know the difference.
Yeah.
You'll taste the difference.
Hermes' dong got cut off
And
by
I don't
Zoidberg.
know, honestly, I don't know how many of the actual original writers came back and
There would have had
things
to have
like
been
that.
some.
I mean, sure, a lot of them
Yeah.
did, but like whoever directed this one, it's the first time he ever directed a Futurama episode. So.
Okay. So like when they are getting shoved out of the stem cell thing, where they got the stem cells from adults who were killed for their stem cells.
Yes. Healthy adults.
That whole like pseudo birthing,
Yeah, it was gross.
it was disgusting. And why were they all pink? And then the pink came off right away.
Placenta.
Oh.
That's
You-
the dad over here.
Well, look, I've seen placenta up close and personal. It does not. It's not pink.
Don't you wish it was? Though I don't know. I guess I wish.
I
it
mean,
was
I've
pink.
seen horse placenta.
Of course you have.
So
Just lying on the side of the road.
No, because
I
my
have one in my refrigerator at home.
my grandmother used to breed her horse, so I've seen many baby horses be born, and it's like gross. I mean, it's gross. It's placenta. It's pink, but it's not
yeah.
like bubblegum pink.
Oh no,
It's like blood.
let's-
it's blood and fluid and ugh.
Yeah, let's just say the one that I saw is remarkable in its complexity. It's still pretty revolting. I mean, it's a discarded organ that once you give birth, your body says, "I don't need this shit anymore," and just goes, and it comes on out.
Yeah, that's what you say, but people pay bank for that and then just like
Yep.
eat it and
Yeah,
like,
and
put it
people,
on their face or whatever.
yeah,
I don't know what they do with
look,
it.
that's fine. People
probably
drink
black
raw
market
water
for
and
them.
like to have diarrhea. I mean, people are dumb, basically.
Maybe that's what it's commentary on.
I don't know. It kind of, I thought it was icky, but the thing that kind of got, that surprised me is Scruffy's there just naked as the day is long. And I don't think he was in the ship to get killed originally. So like for some reason, Scruffy's just rebirthed anyway, but he was bald. And I swear to God, he had hair before.
yeah, he did. He because remember he got that crazy
pink,
like new
like-
wave pink
yeah.
haircut before the museum or whatever.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
before that, I mean, he had like a mop. It might have been shaved up, but he wasn't like bald. And then there he is. He's just like, hey, I was Scruffy the janitor, but no hair.
I don't know. He's scruffy.
He
That's
is.
all. What about Bender's body?
Yeah, that didn't make it. I got a lot of questions about that anyway.
And
Because
that and Kiff's, because Kiff is just like gloop altogether. So I don't know how his head
or why would human stem cells regenerate Kiff?
or Bender
Well, yeah, Bender is a whole other thing. Bender's made
or
out of,
Zoidberg.
yeah, good, right.
And Zoidberg is a shellfish. He doesn't have bones.
But when he takes off his shell, he's got some way of animating himself.
Yeah, that's true.
He there might be some kind of bones inside his soft undercarriage.
Kif doesn't really have like when he's hanging up on the bar or whatever. He doesn't have like a skeleton like the rest of them do.
He's just like
He's like yeah, it's just like green Yeah. And Zoidberg has like fish ribs, fish bones,
It's
and a
all
tail.
it's revolting.
He doesn't even have legs.
all of it.
It's so weird. Like, why doesn't Zoidberg have skeleton legs? He's got legs.
And wouldn't he need like bones inside all of his like webby fins and stuff? I don't know. It's again, this is something where Bill Squire would just say it's cartoon logic. Just let it go.
Yeah, it's funny.
And then it gets into some weird, funny stuff, like when they rebuild Bender and then shove the Doomsday device into him to keep him going, and now he has to party like constantly and boogie just to keep the energy from like building up. But then this whole thing with Leela being in the coma, like all of the stuff they do to try and resuscitate her, they're like, poke harder, damn it, like that kind of stuff. I loved it. It was so good. Because it was just like, it just regenerated people from like literally heads and skeletons, and then Leela comes out and she's like regenerated, but not. I don't know. There's some really kind of Inception style twists and turns in this after that, but the Coma Chameleon song that Bender sang was really not in good taste. Did Fry have the Lego him and Leela previously, or was that just a little?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think that was just a little thing.
I can only imagine with the moist touch of her eyeball on.
Ugh.
Oh, when he said that, I thought about that. It's just
Yeah.
gross.
There's a lot of gross stuff in this episode. Like, it just keeps coming.
The worst part was when he replaces her with a robot. I think that's pretty gross.
Well, that's a whole thing. I mean,
And my worst fear.
if you want to get into, there's a whole philosophical level that we can get into with this episode. But the thing that seemed weird is like they've already done that when Fry dated Lucy Liu. They
Sort of, but that wasn't like. Well, yeah, I guess it was. That was like a computer program, Lucy Liu, though. That wasn't like Lucy Liu's actual.
It was a bootleg of her
memories
personality.
Well, yeah, that's true.
It was a similar concept.
And they had the
Similar, yeah,
dummy
you're
robot,
right.
and then they created whatever
you're
to
right.
make her like soft and cuddly on the outside.
But if my loved one died and I had the option of making a robot of them, I totally would. But this is also a Black Mirror episode.
I just that when I was watching, I was
It's
like, this
the
is
one
the
with
same thing.
what's his face? Donald Gleason. Donald.
Yeah, be right back.
Yep.
It's all. I mean, that's the whole thing. Is like basically, like Elon Musk has probably already uploaded his personality into an AI at this point. You know what I mean? Like, or Bill
Probably.
Gates and all of these guys, like in their
I
secret
don't know
skunk
about
work.
Bill Gates. Bill Gates probably wouldn't go that far. I think Bill Gates is kind of like a fuddy duddy. I don't think he would do AI. Well, no, Elon Musk, isn't he super anti AI? Isn't he like?
Well, I think
No.
Elon Musk would probably do it without letting anybody else do it. Maybe
Yeah.
that's why he's super AI, because he already uploaded his personality into it, and he's just like, oh.
No, I thought he
fuck.
was like, no, this AI is bad. I
It
don't know.
is. It is. It's
Yeah.
going to happen. The singularity will occur, and we're all fucked. But like,
That's why I always thank Alexa when she turns off my lights,
yeah,
and she goes, "No problem."
that's really nice.
No, it's gonna be virtual reality that will ruin everything. My second worst fear
Is?
other than robots. Yeah, we're all gonna be replaced. Why would I even need you guys to be my friends if I had AI or if I had like virtual reality?
Well, does this involve like the kind of?
This got very existential very quickly.
Yeah, but are we talking? I mean, is this a kind of virtual reality where you're wearing turtlenecks and high waisted pants like Joaquin Phoenix and Her? Or is this
Yeah.
just like a Matrix virtual reality where everything's kind of normal and you just don't know that you're sucking? There's like a thing in your brainstem. sucking
Current
off your
virtual
energy.
reality,
Yeah.
where you put a visor on, and you.
Well,
in the
I mean,
game.
you don't need friends, but friends are nice to have. And if your friend, like, if artificial intelligence reaches a point of sentience where it can interact with you and it has consciousness, like, why couldn't you be friends with an AI?
Exactly. Why wouldn't you just start dating them and marrying them?
Well, it'd be hard to. I mean,
I don't know. I
If you
think
didn't
in the-
want to have kids, you could do that.
I think
Yeah.
in the next
But if
10
you
to 20
did-
years, it's gonna be a thing.
It already is.
Well, I mean, I
Yeah.
know that, but I'm just saying.
You can
a
like
bigger
text
thing.
a robot. There's a program called Replica that like you create your own friend to talk to, like to
My
text.
gosh.
You're
What's the
texting a
website?
program.
It's really cool and really depressing. All at the
Replica
same
with a
time.
K instead of a C. Yeah. But it's
Bookmarked it.
yeah, but it's weird. Like I tried it out just to say like this is like a weird thing. I wonder what it's like. And I forgot that I did it. It was like 3 a.m. I couldn't sleep and I saw this thing on Facebook advertising it. So I signed up for it.
That's when
And
the
they
best
were like-
decisions are made.
They were like, "Thanks, you are on the waiting list for your." I can't even remember what they call the AI, like your friend, like you're on the waiting list. And then like a year later, I got this email that was like, "Hey, you're coming. Click this link, and we'll start sending you texts." And then it literally like you put your phone number in, and it starts texting you, and you can text it back, and you can talk about like how you're feeling or your friends or whatever, and it'll have it's a bot that just will talk to you and.
Replica is getting some
weird.
text tonight. I have a lot on my mind.
It's just it's a. I mean, we could really go deep on this, and I'd be happy to. We don't need to, but it's you
I
know,
thought this is why you invited me on, because you
I
are
had-
like very serious, mild mannered.
Nikki, I had no idea what this episode was about until 2 days ago. To be honest with you, like I really just approached these cold, and we decided on having you as a guest before I even knew what it was about.
This is a terrible decision.
Yeah, but like, so if you had a significant other who passed away prematurely, and it's you know what it is, the best case scenario for all of this is the San Junipero episode of Black Mirror,
True.
where everything is happy forever and ever, amen. Like that's still,
Yeah.
oh my God, that episode makes me so happy and sad at the
Yes.
same time.
Honestly, that episode kind of ruined Black Mirror for me, because like after that, I'm like, how can I go back to these like dark blue
Yeah.
episodes? After that, it's just kind of ruined.
I don't need to see a
which
pig
episode is
fucker. I
that?
just need to see happy.
That's the only episode I
People.
haven't seen.
San Junipero?
Oh,
Did you
no,
watch
really?
it?
No, the
The
first
big
one, the
fucker?
very first one. Yeah.
Which
Oh.
No, which one are you talking about? The Happy Place one? What?
it's it ostensibly takes place in the 80s in like a Cabo San Lucas type beach town.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And
okay,
it's
never mind.
the two women who fall in love, and like the one is terminally ill, and then the other one. I mean, without spoilers, there's a
No, I
but
completely remember which one you're
yeah,
talking about.
but it's just it's probably the only episode they've done that actually has a happy ending, and oh my God, it's so happy and wonderful.
And now I have, ooh, baby, do you know what's in this part? You're having a birth's order.
I feel like Hang the DJ. That one was.
I haven't finished the
Which
current
one?
season.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Yeah, that's the like dating app.
Oh, yeah,
kind
I
of
didn't get
virtual
to- I didn't get that
reality
far.
one,
I
which
watched
also has a
the-
happy ending.
I watched the first 3 and fell asleep at the very end of the third one, and I never like went back because I feel weird watching those by myself. Like I get all like weird and fucked up when I do.
Yeah.
So I have to be like watching it with a friend or something. And
And
I don't know.
my wife won't watch them anymore because they just like basically the third season
they're
came
hard,
out.
it's hard. It's really hard to like watch them, and you get like they're so good that they like actually fuck you up emotionally.
Yeah, and the third season came out right around the time of the election, and at that point, you're just like, we can't. I'm not
Right.
going to put any like knowingly negative stimulus into my body at this point because
It's not a good idea to binge watch them either.
Right,
because-
No.
yeah.
It's
no.
not a binge watch show.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm always right. There's so many good lines in this, really, like sprinkled throughout. But the robot that Fry builds at the Build-A-Bot workshop, like when
I
it's
would
the
do
first
that.
one,
Like
you would
not
make
even,
like an anthropomorphized bucket.
not of anything, just like or I wouldn't like necessarily download a personality into it, but just like go like a Build-A-Bear thing and just build a robot.
I mean, how far off is that from building a sex doll of your missing significant other?
I guess it's not that
It's
far off.
that's I think it's
Or
less
building
weird to
a-
put
or
the
building a
AI
bear.
into it.
Well,
Well-
there's already so much sex robots talk. Like I feel like my entire Twitter feed the past month or so has been incels, sex robots.
What is
like,
incels?
Fucking incels.
God.
Oh no.
Oh, never mind. I know exactly what it is. Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, let's
I'm just saying.
banish
it's-
that.
The future is now. Is all.
Why is it such a thing that there is a like abbreviation for it?
because internet assholes created their own abbreviation.
That's
for
like
their fucking
That's
stupid.
Well-
like the movie Broken Arrow. What's scarier, the actual thing, or that the fact that they're so common that there's a name for it?
There was actually an episode of Reply All, I think from last week, that is about incels and how it started. It was started by a woman who, they have her on the podcast. It was started by a woman as just a small like support group because she was in college and she felt like she didn't get out enough, and she realized later on that she was a lesbian, but that's why she like didn't go out and date, because she wasn't comfortable dating. So she started like this support group where she met somebody in the school library or something who like had a similar issue, and he was talking to her. I don't quite remember the beginning of it, but it started out
trying to make it sympathetic.
well, no, it started out being this woman, and then she left the group and went on with her life and like got married to her girlfriend or whatever. And then like the internet happened to this group that she just basically abandoned, and then she realized like, oh, this has turned into this giant hate machine that I never intended it to be, and now it's just men who are angry at the world because they can't get laid.
The internet is the worst. I hate the internet.
And I don't know if anybody, I'm sure everybody who's listening to us knows this, but incel is short for involuntary celibate.
Can we just delete all of this part of it? Can we just like make a 60-second
It's
fucking...
part of the.
It's the world.
Yeah, it's part of the episode. Like when I was watching it, like that's what I was thinking about.
What? That Fry couldn't get it on...
Sex robots.
Fry built a sex robot.
Yeah.
And rather than having it be
Well-
an inanimate object, he imbued it with...
He built a
sentence.
love robot.
Yeah.
Yes,
Ish.
with the
Except
intention
then-
of sexing it up.
Which,
But
by the
then
way,
he
one of my
loved
favorite lines.
Both. How could he love both?
Yeah.
Well, then, okay.
One's
true.
a sex robot.
I love Leela. Any Leela.
Yeah. I mean, basically, this is the timeliest podcast we've ever done. That would get into this whole polyamory type thing. And then, is it polyamorous if you're in love with clones of the same person that are identical to each other? I mean, does that?
Save this podcast for like sex talk shows in 20 years.
Yeah, we'll leverage this
We
onto
were
an appearance
first.
on Savage Love.
We
Can we
were
do that? Has the elusive bathroom burglar ever been brought up before?
Maybe he's feeding the family.
Just slurping the toilet paper into his mouth. I love Zoidberg so much. So that was a thing that, like, Fry has experimented with robosexuality before, like with the Lucy Liu thing. So is that like he's just kind of coming back around to indulge in robosexuality? Is that what this? Because nobody brings it up. Like before, whenever anybody was getting it on with a robot, it was a thing. And I think we still have an episode coming up where it's a whole thing. And in this, nobody blinks an eye about it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Fucking
The show
continuity.
sucks.
Yeah. The Nibbler attacking Leela thing.
I used to have a nightmare when I was younger that it was very weird that I had a pet lizard, but one time it bit me and it bit my finger. And when I pulled my finger up, there was a whole bunch of like circuits in my finger. And I learned that I was a robot.
Did you have a
And,
pet
like,
lizard in real life?
No,
Or, no.
I like
I was just
a little
thinking
like I used to have like little like the little tiny like a Knowles or whatever, but never. This was like a monitor.
Do you have a
lizard or
pet
something
lizard
like
now
that.
because you've
No,
got every other
I
damn
do not.
animal? How many animals are
No.
living in your house now?
37.
That's a lot.
What?
If you count,
If you count you and Becca, is it 37 or is it
no,
39?
it would be 39 if we counted us.
What's your favorite animal of the 37?
I
Do you
hope
have,
it's-
like, a bunch
I
of
hope it's
fish?
Becca. I hope it's Becca.
How,
We have.
how many? What?
I would probably.
I knew you had a lot
probably
of
the
pets,
Shetland
but-
pony is probably my favorite.
Oh, okay.
What? That's,
No, I
you're-
don't. I
oh,
really
it's like
don't
you're
have that
making
many.
this up.
You're
I'm
at like 8
gullible,
though,
but-
right?
I have 2 dogs and 4 cats and 2 rats.
Oh,
Yeah.
Really
Gosh.
not that much.
Isn't there a sugar glider
That's
or
8.
something in
No,
there? Or
no.
hedgehogs?
God.
No.
Are you
Sugar
sure?
glider. I was
That was
pet sitting for somebody that had
was
a.
LVs, right?
Yeah, Lauren from Voodoo Monkey. Her
Okay.
sugar glider.
All right.
She went to
I
Japan and Thailand, and so we watched her 2 cats.
Is she
and-
picking up more sugar gliders or something?
I don't think so.
Just bringing them back in a carry-on?
She brought back a whole bunch of weird Japanese candy that I'm terrified to try any of them. I had some weird tea flavored Kit Kat, and that was good.
Does the green tea like the
I
matcha?
want
Yeah,
one
the
of
matcha,
those.
yeah.
Ugh, I want to try one so bad.
If there are any left, I'll grab one,
Sweet.
snag one.
So they get to Leela, regular Leela, is this where she wakes up and... Or no. This is still
we're not-
robot
yeah.
Leela, who doesn't realize she's a robot and freaks out.
She's just screaming for a while.
So there's the long stream, and then they go to the disco. Did anybody do the math?
Yeah, it's 54.
Yeah. It took me longer than I would have liked to make that happen.
The last thing I remember was dying in an explosion. Yet here I am in the flesh, more alive than ever.
The reason why I figured that out is because I was like, I bet that joke is that it's Studio 54. Then I was trying to figure out how they got to it, and then I figured it out. So,
I mean, the 1 to the 2 is 1,
Yeah.
the 2 to the 1 is 2.
2.
So 1 times 2 is 2, and
No,
then
it's 1. Yeah, 1.
3 to the 3rd is 27.
Mm-hmm.
Now, oh my God, I'm not trying to be like mansplaining about it. I was just
Who
so
wants
happy I
to
could figure it
math?
out.
Nobody likes math.
I just love watching him party.
Everybody's having a
She's a
good
bender.
time. Bender is out of control, and you know what was great? Randy has been showing up a lot lately, and when Bender's doing his do the Bender stuff, and Randy's like, "No, thank you." It's beautiful. I like when Bender gets thrown out of things too because he deserves it. He's really such an asshole. And just but then again, what's he gonna do if he stops boogieing? He's gonna die. In theory, I mean, we'll get to the end, whatever. But
Yeah.
just that whole thing.
Have they ever medically in real life tried the way that Professor tries to wake up Leela in actual coma
hanging her up
pains?
and like shaking her around.
Wake up! Wake up!
I mean, probably before modern. I mean, like probably up through the Nazis. I could see that being like a Nazi experiment when somebody's been done. But after that, it's a little inhumane. But, you know, they're trying everything because she was just a brainless mound of scabs and pus. But then with Fry trying to whack her with the stick.
Yeah.
Damn you.
But then Farnsworth says, well, that's it. I'm afraid traditional medicine has failed. Like them hitting, like whacking her with the stick and air horns.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, it's a last ditch. Like,
Don't get your hopes up. It's our only hope. Don't get your hopes up.
all of that was really good. Like that, just the professor's doubling back. When they ask Zoidberg to write down the time of death, he's like, "That's my specialty." But all they needed was fire from Bender's belch, apparently, and then she wakes up, and now things get really.
When they go to
complicated.
feed the Cyclops.
Can you believe she
yeah.
wore a tank top to a funeral?
Yes, I'm sure I've seen that happen. I mean, I've gone to a lot of funerals. I just can't remember offhand.
Funeral attire has gotten weirder and weirder.
I mean, this shit people wear to anything nowadays.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
there's
true.
Totally.
no expectation. It just
I was at a bridal shower last weekend, and everyone was pretty much like nicely dressed, and then there was like one person there wearing like a Pink Floyd t-shirt and jeans, and I was like, you know what, do you, like, that is so awesome that someone just like, you know what, I'm just gonna show up and be myself and not care.
Rose all day.
I mean, I thought that was great.
I'm gonna get comfortably numb, bitches.
She was super nice too, and I think she maybe just like wasn't sure how, like, what the dress code was gonna be. I mean, I went out and bought a. That's what I'm thinking. Like, I mean, if you knew the bride, it's my best friend is the bride, and if you knew her, you'd probably think
wait, from the Sting movie?
What?
Never mind. I'm sorry.
I don't know what you're talking
I went
about.
deep. That movie came out
that-
before you were born.
Probably. But she works at the Rock Hall, and I think the girl that came also worked at the Rock. The girl that I'm thinking about like the Pink Floyd shirt girl, and I think maybe she thought like, oh, it's Lydia, like
It's a rock and roll.
it's a rock and roll bridal
shower.
shower. But I felt bad, but also like she didn't seem to care that she was the only one there, like not like a little dressed up. But I'm just like,
I feel like I would only care if it was like your friend who like always wears like heels and looks like, you know, a princess, and then she's like, it's a rock and roll party and wore a Pink Floyd shirt. That would be weird. But if that's just like your thing, then I don't know. You're invited to my bridal party.
oh yeah, I thought it was great that she showed up wearing
Right.
that and then didn't immediately go like, because if I did that, I would have gone like, I'm going home and coming back in a different outfit
yeah,
because I feel way.
Who's the dummy? Because you were like, I gotta go buy a dress. This sucks. And then she's just like, fuck that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is like I went out to the mall and bought a dress for this thing on purpose and
But
I'm the maid of honor, so
she just set the bar. You should show up
had
to
to
the
do it.
wedding in a fucking Pink Floyd t-shirt and
not
jeans.
doing
Oh my God. What about a Rush t-shirt?
I'll wear my rainbow
3
t-shirt
sizes
at the
too
reception.
Yeah, not to the reception, to the wedding.
No,
in the
I'm the maid
church.
of honor. I'm not doing
Yes.
it's not in a church. It's not a church thing, but
Good, but still even better. But still, I mean, there's a lot. You do a lot with this.
could.
You could.
I won't, but
you could class it up. You know, there's the I gotta figure out what the name of the service is because it's really cool. It's this company where like you can have dresses made where you just scribble on a template and then they basically 3D print.
Yeah, but I've seen some people do some weird shit with that.
Yes, but just hear me out. Like my daughter did this. She's got this really cool fucking dress that she designed with just like crazy patterns and stuff. But you could take like, you know, the cover of 2112 or something. I don't know why I'm all hung up on Rush.
would
I think
be
just
cool.
because it would be like double inappropriate and just get it printed as
Well,
like
not
a
really.
giant shawl.
You can walk down the aisle.
I think
and
I
look
would
you
get
man.
tons and tons of compliments from the other guests at this wedding. If you knew these people,
Exactly.
you'd know that
See,
would be super cool.
I'm just
But-
here, Mr. Fashion over here. is really trying to up your game so you don't get shit on by the Jonah Melissa Rivers on the red carpet.
Yeah, true.
I do have a wedding coming up this weekend, and I did realize I was like, I have nothing to wear to this wedding, so I may express order one of those dresses.
You could do that.
Yeah, send me the link.
Or you could just wear a Rush t-shirt. I mean, it's you, Nikki, so chances are it's probably going to be black anyway, because I don't think I've seen you wear another color
I'm
ever.
wearing a blue shirt.
Jackets
right
don't
now.
count. I've seen you wear
It's a
colored
denim-
jackets.
Denim coats don't count.
But I bet you have a monochromatic closet, don't you?
Listen, I don't have.
I'm no judgment. I'm making an educated guess.
I have some pretty wild stuff in there. I just don't wear it a lot.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I wear a lot of. I'm wearing burgundy pants right now, and I think I have 3 or 4 pairs of pants that are this exact same color.
I always
And then-
accidentally buy like the same.
Yeah.
You
I'm
find
wait,
what
I
works.
already own
bunch
this.
of bunch of black t-shirts, gray t-shirts, a little purple.
Tom wears the same beard like every day.
Change those tattoos already.
I have
God.
so many T-shirts, but I really only wear like 6 of them.
I've had a really productive t-shirt year in the last like year or so, and now the problem is like when I'm going out of town, I'm like I want to take all my cool t-shirts because they're good conversation starters.
Yeah, I have a lot.
I can't wear any of my cool t-shirts to work.
No,
That sucks.
Well, why you can't wear the rainbow shirt?
I could on a Friday, on casual Friday, I could wear my rainbow shirt.
You could wear it in June and do like a twofer, and be like, it's Pride Month, bitches. And then,
Well-
I mean, I don't know that
Right.
I don't know if you'd necessarily say that at work, but just make people think a little. It's the layers. Just a thought.
Maybe it's Spirit Week. I'll wear my Richie Blackmore's rainbow shirt during Spirit Week. On like, I think there's like, wear your favorite sports team. I don't have a favorite sports team, so mine's gonna be Richie Blackmore's rainbow.
Yeah, there should be more sports teams named after rainbows. God damn it!
I wore a Kiss shirt last time, and I said, "Well, LA Kiss is a sports team," but I really just was wearing a
Barely.
Kiss shirt.
Yeah, I mean
Stretch.
that's disappointing for everybody. just the connection, but that's what they do. The whole
People paint their
cyclophage.
faces at Kiss concerts,
Oh,
and
yeah.
people paint their faces at sports games.
Both of you
It's
guys
really the same thing.
at the
It's
weddings.
basically the same.
Grease paint.
Oh my gosh, with like a star on our eyes. Totally
Yes.
normal.
Yeah. Yeah. If I don't see pictures of you at this wedding with a Paul Stanley Star Child face on, 'cause what the fuck are people gonna say? If you, I mean, it's an occasion. I mean, you could do it at a funeral too. Like if you showed up in full, not in just like regular clothes, but just like, oh, and look, I'm the Star Child.
You know, I welcome you guys to do that at my funeral, and also, please make me a robot.
There's a
We'll download you.
Download me.
And then you can pop out of the casket.
You're never getting rid of me.
there's a picture of
Sorry.
me on my Instagram with Gene Simmons makeup on.
I feel like I've seen.
Yeah,
probably
I'm
have.
pretty sure.
It's from the Beachland from like 2 or 3 years ago or something.
That's just. I mean, it seems like a lot of work. Really,
It can be, depends on how good you are at putting on makeup.
I'm not good at putting on makeup at all. That's why.
Oh, there's multiple pictures of me with the makeup on.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
he's a gross human.
I've met him before. He's actually really nice.
I'm
he
sure.
seems
I'm
like a
sure
nice
he
one.
is.
He's
but
great.
He's,
Him and like Alice Cooper, I feel like are
Mhm.
nice people.
it's. I don't know. His whole persona is revolting to me. Not Alice, Jeans. But hey, why
I just
talk
watched
about
a movie with both of them in
the
Yeah,
Wayne's
just
World
recently.
2 or something?
No. Oh, Why Him with James Franco and Bryan Cranston.
Really?
Surprisingly, a really funny movie.
Yeah.
Really like the
But-
two
Yeah, I haven't seen. I
people
heard that was
least
good, but
want to see.
I you know what? Anything that Bryan Cranston is in is probably good.
mm-hmm.
Especially now because he doesn't have to make shitty things
And
if he
Megan
doesn't want
Mullany
to.
is in it too.
She's funny.
I like her.
That's all. Wait, Mullany or Mullally?
Mullally.
Okay.
Megan Mullally.
Say it again.
Mullally.
We
Mullally.
know who you're talking
Megan
about.
Mullally.
She's married to Nick Offerman.
They're a fun couple. I'd like to party
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah.
I don't understand why the Leelas hate each other so much when they're both awake. It just
Because it's just too freaky.
I would be jealous of the sex robot that, you know, my significant other, I guess, fell in love with. I feel like
yeah,
it's
but
not-
they thought you were dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I wasn't. And what
I would be
happens when I
very
come back?
understanding. I would go, "Oh, you made a robot of me because you missed me. That's so sweet. Let's
Okay,
kill it."
That's very
I mean, I wouldn't. If I was Leela, I wouldn't be mad at Fry, but I'd be like, "Yeah, but I'm back, so
yeah.
You wouldn't.
let's put her in the closet and just wait."
You wouldn't go to stab her by saying, "I'll kill you, you slut clops."
No, I'd actually send her to work for me instead of me going. I would make the best out of it.
Kind of like Michael Keaton did in Multiplicity.
Hey,
Oh, isn't that the sort of thing where the more copies you make, the more degenerated it gets? And
If you make a copy of a copy, that's what
Yeah.
happened to the last one that he made.
and
It was his clone that made
became
a
a
copy.
wild card.
Mhm.
Oh, see, that's dangerous. But that's the whole thing too. That's if you're talking about analog copying.
True.
You know, when it gets that comes back to bringing it back around. If you're talking about downloading your personality and digitizing it into an AI, digital copies are
Far superior.
1-to-1, zero loss digital copies. Where
But you got to make sure the bit rate and the.
well,
right.
okay, so assuming no compression, full, you know, like, but it's just.
Absolutely. Way better than a carbon copy.
Well, like the problems that I have,
Stressed out.
the problem that I have at work right now, well, one of the problems I have at work right now is there's only one of me to go around, and like I need to be in 3 places at once.
What if we made Pete robots?
So then nobody wants that. That's the thing. Like I can think of at least 3 people right off the top of my head that would hate that. I'm one of them. but creating these digital copies.
The other
of
2
things
are in
just-
this house.
Well, one's probably somewhere else. There might be 5. I'll have to think about it. I mean, this is just what comes off the top of my head. Has everything that you guys dated ever run away?
Dated that ran
there's
away?
there's a thing
All the
where when they're
time.
fighting, and then Fry goes, "Why does everything I date run away?" This is where it just gets weird. Like Fry is a robot now too, and that's just like, well, fuck. Now this is just getting stupid at this point. I mean,
I kind of like that though. We were talking about like what's the like positives of it being a cartoon medium, but like in Black Mirror, like that episode, that guy can't come back. Like that wouldn't make sense. But I kind of like that. It's just like a complete cluster.
Yeah, but this all ties into Westworld. That's basically what fucking Westworld is too.
I've never seen that.
Me either. I keep meaning to start it, but
It's good.
Don't.
It's a head fuck in a lot of places, but the acting's very good. The stories
It
can be a
looks
little confusing.
awesome.
Looks great. I mean, visually, it's really
hard for
crazy.
me to get into like heavier shows like that because with the time I have to watch TV, I want to watch like boom, quick,
Right.
entertaining stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's certainly a thing.
Same reason I didn't finish watching Black Mirror. Like that's another show that I would want to like watch with a friend.
And you don't have any. I mean, it's
She has an app
have-
for that.
I have some. Yeah, I can
just
like
pull up Replica.
text. I'll text my friend my replica AI. But no, I've got roommates and I've got friends, but like I don't know.
I know.
That's like something you have to like mentally prepare.
Yeah, you gotta be in the
yourself
mood for it.
And then
Oh,
decompress
God, yeah.
and then lay in bed like having nightmares for the next couple hours. It's kind of like an all day affair.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, I've made the mistake of watching several Black Mirrors on planes. It's
Oh,
just
no.
like, oh, good. Let's just ramp the anxiety up just a little bit more. And anymore, I'm not scared of flying. I'm just scared about being around other fucking people in that close of a quarters because like I've had a rash of like plane farters.
Oh,
no.
And it's the worst. And I mean, like, I get it. There's pressurization. Your guts are kind of like, ooh, let's all feel what's going on. It's just like, control yourself. Get down to the shitty, gross bathroom before you just start like, and then stinking up the recycled air. Because it can get
gross.
bad. It's so gross.
That's so bad.
That was really gross.
It's a burden.
There's like this old guy at work who I try to stay away from the main cafeteria at work unless I need to go like buy food. But on every other floor, they've got like a small lounge area with tables and microwaves and fridges and stuff. So I go up to the 5th floor and I sit because it's less busy and I like it. I like to have my lunch in a place where I can relax and not worry about like the 1,000 other people around me bumping into my table
Yeah.
and taking the chair, the empty chair from my table so that they can fit 10 people at their table. Like,
And then you're just by yourself at one table, and then they're all like,
yeah. Well, I mean, it's a huge building. I work with thousands of people, so it's fine. But I go upstairs where there are less people. There's this old guy who takes his lunch around the same time I do every day,
On
and
purpose?
Just coincidentally.
he like tries to take a nap. And I sit at this. There's like a big long bench, kind of like a half booth.
yeah.
And he always sits down next to me while I'm eating the food. And he farts while he's napping on his lunch, and then he slumps down. He goes like way down into the booth, and he slumps, and then he falls asleep, and his head's way back here, and then he goes, "Ha!" and he jumps forward, and he like yells, and I hear him. Like I usually have like I'm listening to something or watching something on my lunch break. And I can hear him through my headphones that he like screams every 5 minutes. And I'm like, if you knew, like, I think this guy must not know that
He's falling asleep.
He falls asleep on purpose. Like he's purposely taking a nap in a semi-public area.
He's trolling you. That's
He needs
got to
to
be
go-
done on purpose.
We
Many
have
night
rooms.
terrors.
We have like they're supposed to be for private conference calls or whatever, but there are rooms where he could go in, sit down, take a nap. No one would have to look at him or hear him. Like it makes me feel awkward that he's awkwardly taking a nap in public. I don't want to be around this. I don't want to sit next to this dude who's like farting in his sleep and screaming every 5 or 10 minutes
That's what significant others are for.
on my
God.
lunch break.
Like, that's
I don't want
that's
that.
why people get married. You don't just give that away. I mean, like even, I've actually had to sleep on planes recently a lot out of necessity because I've had these like stupid early times I've had to get up. And even then, like I got my neck pillow and whatever, but there's like, I can't get into REM sleep because like as soon as I'm aware that you know, kind of like snoring, and my mouth is just like I wake myself up and have to like close my mouth, and then I let it. The cycle starts all over again. It's like it's 20-minute repeat thing. It's really awkward sleeping in public. I mean, I don't even like sleeping in my house because my kid will come in and like draw dicks on my forehead and stuff. I mean, it's just
like college.
It's very vulnerable.
I would probably fall asleep. I was definitely that kid that always slept in high school, and I look back at that now, and I'm like, that's a very weird thing.
Would you put your head down and sleep, or would you just like crash out, or like?
I guess I would put my head down, but regardless, like you're in the middle of a classroom. I look back at it all the time, I'm like, what was I doing? But right now, I'm like, if I could just sleep anywhere, I would.
I'm surprised you don't have like a little cat bed under your desk that you pull like the George Costanza.
You're surprised. How do you know I don't?
Well, because I figured if you did have it, you would have told us about it. You'd
That
been
would
like,
be weird, but I feel like my work would be supportive. I practically live there, and they know how I feel about they know how I feel about cats, so I don't think that would be weird. I would just feel like it's like the new trendy thing that millennials are into.
That they'd make you write a piece on it. And
Yeah.
well, it's like the cat
I'll take a
kayaking.
trend piece. Yeah, cat kayaking.
Yeah, we talked about that like 55 minutes ago, Nikki.
I know. I mean, I remember, but it's a little different. I feel
It's
like.
not. All you
It's all
see.
cat recreation.
Yeah, but there, you know,
Kayaking,
try and
sleeping.
tell a cat kayak person that it's the same thing as cat yoga, and just stand back and get ready for an onslaught of.
How would that work though? Like, how would you strap the cat in?
You wouldn't. That's where the danger comes from.
the cat gets freaked out because it's surrounded by water, and then
It just
doesn't
freezes
know what to do.
on the what's the front part of the boat?
the
Front part.
bow or
That's
the stern.
yes, yeah. Isn't the stern the back?
Stern's
think
the
so.
back.
No, wait,
Yeah.
or is the stern?
I don't know.
No, I
like-
should know
I
this.
thought,
deck.
I thought the aft was the.
Fore and aft, bow and stern. I don't know.
The bow. is
The
front.
bow's the front.
Okay,
Stern's the
okay.
back.
All right, we're probably wrong about all of
No,
this.
I'm
but-
pretty sure.
Okay.
The
You've got.
way
Do you have like
Starboard,
nautical tattoos?
Starboard
You do.
is
You got a nautical star.
Right.
I trust you.
left front.
I mean, I think port is the port side is the side that you always dock against, right?
Listen, though, I see people post those trendy photos of them in kayaks with their cell phones. If you can take a cell phone on there and not worry about it, you can take your cat.
Well, again,
Yeah.
I think,
I have kayaks at home. I'll take my cats out there and see what happens. I'd
definitely.
get
and
them
then
little.
you can write a story
Gotta get them
about
little life jackets.
it.
So
Yeah.
Great idea.
Look, how many of these like lifestyle pieces that you read in the New York Times are just full on bullshit anyway, where somebody just like ramps their friends up and like, I'll buy you some drinks if you do this retard thing, and we'll just go out and be stupid, and I'm gonna call it a new trend. And
Like the avocado coffee, where they were putting like avocado, they were putting coffee in like the avocado. What do you
I
call it?
missed
The
that.
peel or
That's
whatever.
some shit that someone
Somebody
just made up. and
Yeah,
I'm like,
it was.
this is a
It was
trend.
some shit that some barista thought it would be funny, like a great joke on how everybody goes, oh, millennials, they're all about Starbucks and avocado toast. So some some putz of a barista poured.
Putz or genius,
I don't know. They poured coffee in a, what do you call it? Like, what's the
the rind, the skin,
outside, the skin of the avocado, I guess?
Yeah.
They just put coffee into it and posted a funny picture on Facebook, and then everybody's like, millennials are now drinking coffee out of avocados. And it became this huge thing, and then people started recreating it, and then there were like indie coffee shops that were selling them, and the guy was like, it was a joke, no one actually does this, I was kidding. Like, relax.
See that? You
All
just,
that fucking unicorn frappuccino bullshit.
I'll drink every damn one of those.
I tried.
They're very
It was out.
colorful.
I went to Starbucks and tried to get one because I was like, you know what? I hear these are really good.
what are they?
the multicolored.
That unicorn frappuccino that
Jesus, no.
Starbucks had like 2 years ago or
I
whatever.
didn't try one of those, but they look so pretty. I thought about standing in a line, and now people have unicorn cakes, unicorn macarons. I love all
Mermaid.
that
There's
trendy shit.
mermaid everything.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
unicorn
and like
everything.
our friend does the crazy bubble teas at her restaurant. That's fine. Like I just can't drink
That's different.
any of it. I can't because it's just I see it and my teeth start to hurt from the sugar. Like I really can't deal with that
Bubble
kind of
tea's
sweet
not
stuff.
really that
Decision.
sweet.
I
Well, when
feel
it
terrible
has
after
cotton
it.
candy and a donut stuffed
That's
on top.
true. That's a little.
I mean, if you put the condensed milk in it, I mean, and
Mm-hmm.
like she's making a killing with it. it's and like her creativity with it is great. So I'm not. That's a Thai in Lakewood. It's my friend Kiwi's place. They're great. Go eat all of their food because
Once
it's
they
delicious.
had like
It
an
is
actual
the
mermaid
best
there.
Thai food place in Lakewood.
They consistently get all kinds of awards now too. They're
Like,
great.
They had for the mermaid bubble tea. They had like a real life mermaid there.
I think it was just a lady in costume.
No, it was a real mermaid.
Out of was
I
she in a
saw
tank
them.
or was she out of water?
She was out of water.
What? That's not possible. I'm leaving.
That's why I thought.
They were at the fountain though during the Cleveland International Film Festival. These are like real mermaid people and a merman.
Okay. I can only imagine, and I don't want to, but I'm just.
There's plenty of photos.
I bet he looks more like the.
They all look great.
Do
All
they?
I'm
Is
saying
he? Is he
a fabulous hobby?
being a mermaid? Is it a hobby or is it a lifestyle?
Ooh,
Really hard to swim in
lifestyle.
one of those fake tails. I know, because I had to do it once for a short film.
Of course you did.
Doing it. You could be one of those mermaids.
I'm
was
glad you
very
didn't
difficult.
drown.
It was
That's-
hard to swim in that. It was so heavy and it was too big for me. It was
Why were you doing your own
borrowed-
stunts?
I really shouldn't have been because I had just had surgery like 3 weeks before
God.
on my wrist. Like it wasn't like major abdominal surgery. or
To have
anything, but
legs transplanted on her
I
body.
really shouldn't have been like
I had
in
a
water.
voluntary C-section. I wasn't pregnant or anything. Just can you just slit open my abdominals for
I
me?
had a cyst removed from my wrist, so I had like a surgery.
A wrist
I had
cyst?
an open, a wrist cyst, a ganglion cyst. It was really huge and really deep into my joint, and it hurt.
Ooh.
So I kept holding this arm above water because it was at the point where like it could get wet, but like questionable time frame. Like it's not like it can't get wet. But
I can
it's
only
still kind of-
imagine the toxic chemicals that would leach off of a giant mermaid tail. Like too, like it's probably for the best because it would have just gone in and mutated or something.
I can't remember what fabric it was. It was like shower curtain material
I
at
can't
the
believe
bottom.
you swam in it like you're a real mermaid.
Yeah, it was. It probably would have been easier if it hadn't been too big. Like it didn't fit me right. It was for someone who was much taller than I was, so there was a lot of.
So you
Extra
had your
space
part
at
that would
the
go,
end.
and then there'd be like the other part that just like flopped on top of that independently.
Yeah, well, I had to like.
Or did you just like a sock, like crumple it up? so
Yeah,
that your
that's
feet were at the
kind
bottom?
of what I did.
It's like a
was
fascinating
weird.
look into a real life mermaid.
My friends had to keep zipping me back up into it, like in and out. Like especially when we went between like the different places we were shooting, I had to obviously take it off to drive, and it was really hard to get back on.
You shouldn't
anyway.
have taken it off because
No,
how
I was
how
driving.
good would it have been to get pulled over and be like, why are you speeding? I have to get back to the lake.
That was the whole point of the episode, the sketch was that I was the last mermaid. I was escaped from the circus, and the circus dudes were after me, and my friends were trying to get me to the lake. And then there's a scene at Lake Erie. Look it up. All this mustache. I've told you guys millions of times.
Did you go swimming in Lake Erie in a mermaid tail?
No,
Oh God,
we were
thank
just there.
God.
Yeah.
Oh.
The Last Mermaid. Look it up. All this mustache it's on YouTube. It's very
You
funny.
should try and put that in the
Shape of
show
Water
notes.
stole this story from you.
Sounds like it. That Guillermo
Guillermo
del
del
Toro
Toro.
guy. Thief. It's a
Thief.
thief.
Oh boy.
Is anybody else's love stronger than the vast majority of explosions?
For certain people, yes.
Yeah.
My hate is stronger.
What's your hate? What is your hate stronger than? All explosions?
All explosions.
Oh, that's fair enough. Yeah. So just the whole thing where like Fry walks in on himself. It's just all very. Well, he gets birthed instead of. I mean, again, how did he dissolved and then he comes back out of the muck?
Stem cells are a crazy, crazy thing.
Apparently, that's how you wind up with like all that K-pop stuff, isn't it?
Stem
isn't there a
cells?
whole like stem cell industry in Korea?
Maybe.
I thought that was like one of the things, or like there was a guy I think he's been discredited, but he is like some rogue scientist who's like, I've created clones of humans from stem cells. But imagine that in like a Korean accent.
Everyone says they've cloned people or whatever. But doesn't like Cher have cloned dogs?
Yeah, there are there are people with cloned
it's,
pets.
Who is it?
Barbara Streisand.
Barbara
Yeah.
Streisand, yes. I would clone my dogs.
Would you
or my
want to?
cats.
If you were cloning your dog or cat, would you want to download the personality of your previous dog or cat into the new clone of the
Please
dog or
make
cat?
like 10 of them.
Oh, that's. I'm just imagining the litter boxes. That would be horrid. Horrid. Bad.
Worth
Just-
it.
No, not at all.
This is where we are different, Pete.
Oh, yes, we are. Our opinions on felines are divergent as fuck.
Divergent as fuck.
There was a.
That's what we should rename this podcast.
If you had 10 If you had 10 clone cats though, you could just use some for kayaking.
What if you bred the cats and the kayaks so that they were like one and the same?
What do you mean?
I mean, like a centaur, but instead of a man and a
Oh.
horse, it's a cat and a kayak.
Oh my gosh, like a unicorn.
Where are we right now? What are we doing?
I think that's so
Talking
adorable.
about the
It's so cute. It's
cyborg
like
cat
fantasy.
kayak.
Where's the cat kayaking?
There's a cat on a kayak.
See?
Oh my gosh, I wish Slurmcast
Okay.
listeners could see this.
Well, they can't.
Please
Now
make
you can
it.
do a story on it. It's a real thing.
It's
It
a
exists
real
on the internet.
phenomenon. Are there any like New York Times articles on this or anything? Because I'm about to break this story.
So
This is breaking news.
Here-
Send it to me.
here
Breaking
is-
news.
WideOpenPets.com. 13 kayaking cats who live for outdoor adventures.
Is
Oh,
there
I bet those
any
cats are
stories on
total
that?
dicks, though. They're probably like the Life is Good T-shirt.
They're like
guys.
the Mumford and Sons of cats.
Lots-
Stomping their feet and playing
lots of,
tambourines.
arm.
These
What is
cats
the
have beards and
like the sleeve suspenders? What are those called? Or the
arm
arm garters?
garters.
Cats and arm garters.
honestly, cats and suspenders is like the only suspenders.
How could that? How could
Cats,
that work?
I can even let them play ukulele, whatever. Like,
You could put little beards on them.
yeah, I don't care if these cats like.
Oh,
Dave
here's the cat that's underneath because it's scared.
That cat definitely probably likes Dave Matthews Band. I don't even care. I'll still snuggle it.
I'd be afraid of that thing clawing the shit out of my feet.
It just wants to go on an adventure.
No, it doesn't.
That
It's
cat does not
terrifying.
want to.
First of all, they put that cat on a leash. Like, how many cats do you know that like to be leashed?
I know a few, yeah.
A few?
I was just
Some
saying
of
the other
them.
day I want a leash for my cat and take on little adventures.
What? Oh,
I have a harness for one of my cats and he likes it.
See?
for this wedding you're
One.
going to, why don't you get
Yeah,
a little
the
short
other ones
leash
will
and just
not.
make your cat your little clutch?
Oh my god.
Well, they've got those backpacks with like the bubble, like so the
Mm.
cat can sit in the backpack and see out,
Mhm.
like
Oh,
the
I
little
want
clear
one of those.
bubble.
The cat's
And then they can poop and pee in it
miserable.
too.
I
Awesome.
don't think a cat would do that though.
Yeah,
think-
it
I
probably
think if
wouldn't.
they were-
It might pee. The cat looks.
If it was scared
terrible,
enough, it might pee,
terrible. But I just want one so bad.
hmm my cat would hate it because she hates doing things or being disturbed. She likes to approach you on her own terms. She doesn't really give a fuck about anything.
Fair enough.
She's great.
Family tree.
Literally the chillest cat.
I would totally take that cat to the date or to the wedding though. I'd be like, I don't get a plus one.
Since you're +1.
Guess what? We're together.
You could just-
we come as a package.
You just feed it from the cheese tray on the hors d'oeuvres.
yeah.
I'll tell you where we are in the episode, and we're almost done.
Thank
There's a continuity. I know. I'm sick of talking about fucking cats.
what? No.
Sorry, you knew it.
I'd rather go back to talking about cats.
There's a continuity error
I didn't notice this.
With
Uh,
Bender?
No,
Because
with
there's one with Bender.
Leela and fake Leela.
With
Or-
the arms?
Yes.
Yes, I noticed that.
Because when
The
they're
wrist-
fighting, the robot Leela does not have a wristlojacomatron.
I
She has
thought
a
didn't have
bandage
one.
on.
She has a bandage, but then there's a scene where they're fighting, and the robot Leela has a bandage and a wristlojacomatron, and then the next scene she doesn't have it. I'm surprised that slipped through.
That is a pretty big goof.
There's another one.
Yeah,
with
there's
Bender.
a bunch in this episode, actually.
Where? What's
When Bender stops moving and he starts to like explode
light
or blow
up.
up, light up.
Yeah.
One of his eyes rolls out.
Yeah.
And then when the whatever it's
the
called,
cyclophage.
yeah, eats him and he blows up.
Yeah.
And he comes out. He has 2 eyes, and then they cut back and he only has 1 eye.
I didn't catch that.
Mhm.
Well, that was the point where it was again, we come back to Bender's magical chest cavity where the Doomsday device just blew up his excess capacity inside.
But it somehow also killed the psychopath.
Yeah, it killed the cyclophage.
Psychopath.
It blew up in there.
Psycho monster.
And now that it's blown up and done, he doesn't have any power problems, which doesn't make any sense either because the Doomsday device was powering Bender. So now that it's blown up and is no longer a thing, how is he still running?
He has just the right amount of power.
Yeah, but the device that was creating the power in general is destroyed.
Cartoon.
Yeah, I know. This is the last thing I wrote because it was established in, I think, Wild Green Yonder. Bender weighs 2 tons, but Fry and the Professor have no trouble hoisting him up on their shoulders when they do their little huzzah parade at the end. How does that happen?
Cartoon.
Well, apparently in that same scene with the 2 fighting Leelas,
Yeah.
one of them is drawn with 2 pupils on accident.
Oh my God! So like they were using a whole new animation house or something.
Yeah,
Like,
it
these
has
guys
to be
are-
because there are so many goofs that I'm now looking at the list of goofs, and there's one with Fry froze all frizzy. His sleeves and jacket go from being like burned, fine to burned and fucked up, then fine again. The Rislow Jackamator thing that you mentioned. Bender's eyeballs being wrong.
They're not even eyeballs; they're like eye tubes.
Yeah, Zap's head is still perfectly intact, even though he wasn't on Planet Express ship. He was on the Nimbus.
Yeah, but the Nimbus crashed
which
on
could
top of it.
which could have the similar technology that could be explained. He can't talk with just his head, which is inconsistent with a bunch of the other episodes where like Hermes' head talks after he gets decapitated.
But they put it into the jar, didn't they?
Even when he just gets decapitated, he's talking as like a decapitated head on the floor. So
But that's when it was fresh. Like I get that. They've been kind of hung out to dry for a while, literally.
Professor tells Bender if he stops partying, he'll explode. But the first time he tells Bender that if he doesn't stop partying, he'll explode, he's not partying for a very long time. Let's see. There was a mistake that everyone had reverted to their normal outfits at the end of Into the Wild Green Yonder, but La Barbara was still in her feminista outfit at the end.
Yeah, what
And
happened to La
then-
Barbara? She was on the
I
ship.
know. She was too.
And Scruffy wasn't. So what the fuck?
Same thing with Zap. His outfit is different. There's so many more. I don't even want to go over all the rest of them. But like Amy's skeleton only has 4 ribs and everybody else has 5.
She could have taken them out in some kind of Marilyn
Yeah,
Manson situation.
and she's a Martian, so maybe I don't know.
I have it on good authority that, Martians of Asian descent only have 4 ribs.
And there's another one that it's the last one I'll say because there's a whole list of these that just keeps going. In the opening ship crash, Fry says they've lost power to the forward Game Boy, but he is clearly using a Nintendo controller.
Yes, it's an NES classic little thing. Wow. I'm glad we're not doing the movies anymore. I think it's going to take me a little bit of time to get into the swing of this in general.
The next one blows.
Yeah, it's not good.
Then the next one sucks.
It's a Zap heavy.
Yeah. See, you got off easy, Nikki.
I thought this was a great one.
It was
Very
okay.
relevant to my interest, though.
Skeletons and stem cells and robots and the fear of artificial intelligence replacing you.
There's also
Yeah,
a
pretty
whole
much.
episode that is about cats coming up too.
Wouldn't
true.
it make
Hello, I'm available.
so
Podcast.
with wouldn't it be preferable if you could clone your personality into an AI and it could write your articles and you could just do whatever you wanted to do?
Oh my my gosh, what would I do with all that time though?
Binge watch stuff like Black Mirror.
Oh, yeah, that would probably be unhealthy. I mean, yeah, it would be nice. I think everyone would like to have copies of themselves, but I think for me, it's more like virtual reality. Like, people are just gonna get lost in those worlds. Like, I'm already addicted to my cell phone. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Isn't it happening now already?
virtual reality though? No, that's when you can feel like the person is in front of you. So you can just put on like your celebrity, whatever you want.
You can have like your Jason Momoa experience or
Ugh, no.
a nice date with John Hamm.
No.
I'm just throwing names out.
It's a general concept, though. Yeah, like, why would you want to hang out with normal people?
I would totally go on a VR date with John Hamm. Just saying.
I'd go.
I would absolutely go on a
go on
VR date with John Hamm.
I'd go on a flesh and blood date with John Hamm.
Oh,
He's a
yeah.
handsome guy.
Yeah.
I've only ever did VR one time, and on the, like, story, it was, like, you work at a dog walking startup or something like that.
my
So it's, like, very wholesome, very wholesome. But I was like, I feel like I'm right here. Like, I'm like, why would I want to go back to normal everyday life?
I don't want to burst your bubble about this, but if you're into dog bondage, then being like a dog walker would be a really salacious VR thing.
It wasn't like that, Pete.
Well, because you weren't looking at it through that prism. I'm just saying.
Well, exactly. What about the people who are looking through it through that prism?
The thing about virtual reality, though, is as long as you are tethered to a biological, meat sack, so to speak, you're going to have to disengage from the virtual reality to maintain your basic biological needs. Like,
That's
I think
what I'm saying. People are not going to even get to that level.
But when we're able to upload ourselves and our consciousness into a fully digitized, non-corporeal form, that's when shit's gonna get real because you're no longer tethered to pooping and peeing and eating.
Yeah.
And what happens if you divorce your personality from like your body's physical urges, wholesome or otherwise?
I swear, I'll give it 10 years. 10 to 20 years.
The singularity is projected to happen around 2021, I think. It was the last estimate I heard. I could be
so
completely
soon.
wrong with that.
That's
yeah.
so soon.
It was the Turing test. He said by the year 2000, 30% of people wouldn't be able to distinguish whether they were speaking with a robot or a human being.
Year
Or a
2000?
Yeah.
text app.
So we're pretty close to that.
Yeah. That's the danger zone.
I mean, technically, we are basically because online, you never know.
I have more interesting conversations with like the chatbots on websites than I do with a lot of people in real life. Hi, I'm here to help. Can I help you? I'm here to help. Yeah, yes, you can. Sorry, I can't help you with that. Let me connect you with someone else. But like, that's at least they're cheerful and nice.
True.
It's not like walking up to a counter somewhere and just being like, what do you want?
Think about how nice it is when the virtual reality is you getting to walk puppies. I would never tune out. I would never take that headset off.
But what if you're just seeing yourself pet puppies?
I think I would
That's
much
not what
rather
virtual reality
walk
is,
the
though.
real puppies.
I guess.
Yeah, but if you can't have real puppies,
Yeah,
like I can't have real puppies, and I would want to walk a puppy.
exactly.
But
Like, you could walk a puppy if
I'm
you
just
wanted
saying,
to.
there are many
Can you
things.
Just
smell
go
in
somewhere
virtual
that has a
reality?
puppy and say, I want to walk this
I'm
thing.
sure in 10 to 20 years.
can you taste in virtual reality?
I'm sure soon we can.
I want like a VR system attached to like a treadmill so I can actually walk and like move around.
You need one of those
'Cause you can't,
Jamiroquai
like-
setups.
Yeah.
Just like
Exactly like that. Because that was the weirdest thing when I tried VR. I was shooting UFOs and spaceships and stuff, but I couldn't. I mean, you could move a little bit, and you can turn around. It's like 360. You can turn around and look
Yeah.
up and down and
Yeah.
all around you or whatever you want to call that. I don't know if it's
I would think
360, but
the easiest way to kind of set that up would be to have like a ball, almost like when you have bears that can balance on a big ball, but like only the top of it would be surfaced so that you could kind of walk, but it would in 360 degrees of motion. You could stand on this surface and kind of
it would have to
twist
know
it.
when to. Yeah, I guess if it was a treadmill, it would just keep going and going.
Yeah.
It would have to know when you stopped.
Yep. See, the real
Or
shit is
maybe
going to
just
be
a
when you
full
can,
room VR. That's the thing.
when you
Oh my
can
God.
pull, like the danger room.
Has to
You can
exist.
plug it into your nervous system and then generate the stimulus. Because all this meat bag stuff is just interpreting data and then sending signals electrochemically into your noggin. So once you can jack something in that can interface with that and short circuit all of like the real deal stuff and make you think that it's happening.
Are you
There you go.
suggesting that we jack on?
Yes. Early and often.
Bringing it back to Futurama.
Yes. Any final thoughts?
Did we actually talk about the very end of the episode? Did we
thought
get
so.
Did we
I
get
mean-
there? Fry is also a robot. Leela died making robot Fry because Fry died, and then real Fry pops out of the thing, and then living Leela and living Fry get together. Robot Fry, robot Leela love each other.
And
Why
turn
did their
into
voice
Terminators.
changes?
Shed their meat, what they call meat sacks,
We'll go with that.
and yeah, they hasta la vista.
One thing we may never know.
Which
Why
is,
did their voices?
Why did their
change?
voices change?
I think because they didn't have to.
No, it is one thing that we may never know.
All right, fine.
The one thing.
I'm just conjecturing. And then Zap pops out at the end, like,
Yeah.
and there he goes.
So he's still alive.
Yes.
Yep. And Bender doesn't have to party anymore because he exploded the cyclophage with his excess capacity.
You know, it's fine. This was
fine.
certainly not the best, but it's.
But if you hadn't seen Futurama in like 8 years, you'd have been like,
It would be
new episode.
Yeah, you'd be
That's
as
exactly what I did.
Yeah, right?
you'd be as excited as people were when
I
they
think
saw
we're just
the
getting
Phantom
jaded.
Menace.
You know, I think we're just getting jaded. I think we sat through all those movies and had to talk for like we podcasted for a good 8 hours, maybe like 2 hours on average per movie.
I think it was
A little more than
I
that.
mean, well, it's probably
That was-
closer to 12 hours.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, there's a lot of jibber jabber about fucking nonsense and stupidity. But that's the thing. It's like when Phantom Menace came out, whatever the merits or demerits of that actual movie are, I think the going consensus is it's pretty crappy.
Yeah, I mean, I
But-
saw it. I went to the theater to see Austin Powers, and it was sold out, and I saw the Phantom Menace instead.
I got to see Phantom Menace the night it came out with a movie theater that had been rented out by a rich nerd and a bunch of other nerds that worked for him, and everyone lost their shit.
See, I was what year was that?
99.
So I was 11.
Yeah.
So I didn't know any better. I had not seen Star Wars before.
You were starting at the beginning.
I was starting at the beginning when I saw it. Well, I saw that one and I was like, "This is the best thing ever. I need to watch all of it."
Lisa!
No, I had enough taste as an 11-year-old to know that Jar Jar Binks was dumb. But people loved Jar Jar back then. When that movie came out, everything was Jar Jar. They had Jar Jar on fucking Pepsi cans.
Yeah.
Like everything was Jar Jar. Jar Jar was like the Porg of 1999.
Oh, those little porgs are so
Except
cute.
Porgs are great.
And delicious, apparently.
Because they're puffins.
Yeah. They were modeled off of some
No, they're actually
breed of penguin that
the reason why that there's
Yeah.
porgs in there is because there's too many puffins around, and they instead of
Getting rid of them,
digitally
they just-
erasing them, they just turn them into porgs.
Oh.
So
Lucas
I don't think
Film.
there were all them on the ship though with
Yeah.
Chewbacca though.
Yeah, I think that would have been, there would have been a lot of crap
Mm-hmm.
to deal with.
Yes,
I like literal feces.
literal.
Yes. From the birds.
Mhm.
And get in
figuratively.
Chewbacca's hair. You know what? I've never seen anyone use a restroom in a Star Wars movie.
True.
And on that
I don't
note,
usually see people use restrooms in movies.
I don't know. There's a pretty great scene in Pulp
You
Fiction.
know what I mean, though.
There's a
It's almost like,
couple.
excuse me. I have to use the
kids do
restroom.
sometimes. Like I remember.
That's because
Shakes the Clown.
he's John Travolta's character in Pulp Fiction is on heroin, and heroin makes you constipated.
Yeah.
I
That's
never
why
knew
there's so many
that.
bathroom scenes.
Well, there's a whole bunch. I mean, look, if we want to start talking about cinematic bathrooms, I could go for another hour, but we don't need to subject anybody to that.
That's our next podcast.
That'll be the spinoff.
Divergent as fuck. This week we talk about cinematic bathrooms.
I'm trying to think of some way to make it sound classy in French, but I can't.
Arabella. She has her bathrooms of Cleveland.
Really?
Instagram. Yeah, she has a whole
Yeah,
Instagram
I saw that. I saw that the other day.
full of cool bathrooms.
Oh, that could
and she's
get-
very chic.
It's a bunch of chicks taking selfies in like the Mayhall's bathroom and the Taco Tonto's bathroom. And
The only bathroom you need to worry about is the one at the Stone Mad Pub, which is like
that is a pretty cool bathroom.
yeah, and it's probably got people boarded up in the walls behind all those tiles, but that's another story.
That got very dark very quickly.
That's what I do.
On that note,
Yeah. So thanks for coming on, Nikki. It's nice to have you back at the House of Pod.
Thank you.
Do you
Thanks
have
for
anything
having
you'd
me.
like people to know about or to find you on the internet or things?
Look forward to my forthcoming feature story about cats on kayaks.
Where will people be able to see that or your other things? Or are you trying to be on the DL about this?
Oh, I don't care. I'm just saying, look for it, share it, retweet it.
Perfect.
we're bringing back the free times just for that.
That's for the cat guy. It's a one episode special.
I'm on the Twitter and all of the social medias.
Yeah, well, you've written a book, 100 Things to Do in Cleveland Before You Die.
Yeah.
And one of them is Beyond Slurmcast.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh, that's on the second edition.
it's been the 105th thing to do.
Only
Before
I
You Die.
completed it. No one will ever get to all 100.
So there's
Have you done all 100 things that you wrote about?
I think I've done pretty much all of them. They're pretty much all basic, and then I slid in some like very weird shit in there that I don't know. You know, like editors are like from out of state, so I think they probably wouldn't be like, go to like noise lunch at now that's class or like things like that.
Yeah.
They'd probably be like, we're gonna need to take this off. But since they're outside of Cleveland, I think they just were like, we trust you with everything.
Yeah,
And I'm
sure.
like, sure. No, they're mostly very traditional stuff though.
it's fun, and so that has an associated Facebook page, but then you also have stories and features that pop up on Cleveland.com and
Yes.
in the actual
Arts and
print
culture,
edition of the
yes.
Plain Dealer.
Yes, for both. No
Which-
cat stories yet, though.
Well, we've given you plenty.
There's a lot of new material.
Every episode that we do, we like just basically give away a handful of $1 million ideas.
I know. You guys should.
Because we're idiots.
Make a
We've not monetized this for shit.
No.
Anyway, yeah, so you go find Nikki online. Don't, just send her positive affirmation about things. She writes nice articles about cool stuff.
Yeah, only nice things, please.
Yeah. Send your hate mail to us at slurmcastpod@gmail.com.
Yes.
We're also on Facebook. We're on Twitter and Instagram at slurmcastpod. You can call, text, leave voicemails about how you're with the IRS and you need to talk to us immediately
Because
you
there's
have
a warrant.
for
Which one of us, though?
Or just text if you're lonely.
yeah,
And
we'll
if that
we'll
app's
be your
not
replica.
working- yeah, if that app's not working. for you.
Eventually, because sometimes we're real slow about responding, but we will respond. 216-438-1077.
Yes.
That's it. You can buy Futurama and other cool T-shirts that we've curated in our TeePublic shop. There's a link to that on our website, slurmcast.com.
Spotify.
We're on Spotify
On
now.
Spotify.
We're making no money there. It's another channel where you can get our content for free and we will receive no benefit from it. And we're okay with that. And I think, rate and review us on iTunes, please, somebody. If we get 5 more responses by the time this episode comes out in like 3 weeks, Michelle will have another art school story.
Yep.
But,
I got a bunch of them.
yeah. And,
Start thinking now. So, guess you gotta leave those reviews.
I mean, you just gave away the mermaid story today, too.
That
so-
wasn't an art school story. That was recent.
You did that for fun.
I did.
It's it was
That's
a
just my
whole
life.
thing.
I've done a lot of weird stuff.
Look, I mean, I think if we wanted to start going around the table on those kinds of that could be our I think we just figured out what our post Slurmcast podcast is going to be. Just weird shit we done.
Weird shit we done.
It could just be silence for a while and just be like,
Oh, yeah.
this one time I did this, and then talk about it. And then it gets silent again as well. We're trying to think of more things.
I don't know. It might be better just to say it with like completely devoid of context. Just 45 minutes of this one time.
I just thought of a really good one.
Oh, tell us off mic, and we'll save it when you write your reviews. Have a good week, everybody.
Bye.